I have a dream that one day.
Phil, what are you even saying?
Oh, I was reciting my Martin Luther King speech for Black Student Union Club.
Oh, Black Student Union Club with Miss Davis?
Yeah, stay tuned for this interview to learn more about it. Come out and join.
Hi, I'm Deshaun Edwards. I'm here with Ms. Davis, and we're here to learn about the Black Student Union. How was your day today?
Pretty good. I can't complain. Thanks.
So, what is the Black Student Union?
It's an organization we're starting on campus, not for only Black students. We want to open it up to everybody, but we don't want to have any confusion about the subject or the topics. We want to talk about issues surrounding the Black identity or the Black experience in America. And allyship. I think that's where other people come in. I think how can we learn to live together? Even you and I as Black people, we have differences in our experiences and our background, where we come from, and how can you and I be allies to each other, opposed to like, we don't have nothing in common. Whatever he going through ain't my business, you know, or non-Black people, white people or non-Black people of color, how can we work together for a more equitable society? And I think that pretending like, oh, race is not a thing, or like we're all people, so we're all the same. Race is not the thing, but there are differences between us, and I think it's okay to say that. And as much as we have different experiences, we have a common experience as Black people. And as you and I, as African Americans, Black people in Europe, Black people in South America, we have a common link. And I think that merits talking about in order to figure out how we can better live together.
Can any race be a part of it, or is it just?
Like I said, I think that it's important that we tell other people to come, other races. Please participate. Please feel free, because sometimes kids are like, you know what, I heard this is racist, or can I say the N-word, or, you know, things like that. And this is a place where we can talk about that. My mom said this, my dad said that. It made me uncomfortable. I don't know how I feel. I don't like talking about race. I think it's not important. And this is a place that we can have those type of conversations. But again, I don't want it to be any confusion. Like, this is, one, it's not the like, stick it to the white man club, like, you know what I mean? So we want all people to feel comfortable. But this is not a like, well, I face discrimination as a non-Black person. Like, this is about, and while we can't have those conversations, this is about the Black identity or the Black experience. And so I would love for other people to come, but I think we want to create a space where it's clear what our goals are.
Mm-hmm. So what type of topics will you talk about in an organization? Like, what will you mainly focus in on?
So I don't know if you've seen any of the signs around. One thing, the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, you talk white. I never had that experience. My sister, growing up, she did. People like, oh, girl, you talk like a white girl. It's like, what does that even mean? And I am particularly interested in the African-American vernacular. I think that that's very much a thing, but to say, hi, how are you doing, is not talking white. That literally means nothing. And I think those ideas are the ideas that, one thing particularly that bothers me is like, oh, my computer being so ghetto is not working. Like, why do we associate ghetto with bad? And I think not just bad, but with Black. And so like colorism, like, oh, you got nappy hair, I got good hair, things like that. I think we really have to talk about while we're young, so that we can unlearn those type of things. Like, I have very coarse hair, and thankfully, you know, I'm glad that I have the type of hair I have. I wouldn't want to have no other type of hair. Your hair pretty, my hair pretty. You know, that's not like a thing, but I think she pretty for a dark-skinned girl. Like, we have to talk about those type of things, because it's so hurtful to our psyche, to our mind, and the way that we live in the world, how we treat each other. So that's the type of stuff I want to talk about: colorism, racism, police brutality, the idea, even when you think about like honors classes, you're not or it's a white thing, or it's a Asian thing to be smart. No, you know what I'm saying? Or it's a black thing to be bad or to skip class, all those type of things. And so I want to get into those type of topics. And also, I mean, saying that, I have to be clear that it's not my club. It's the student club. So I want to talk about what y'all want to talk about. So yeah.
So do you just hope to change people's thoughts or to bring more insight and more information on the whole club in general?
I would like to change people's thoughts or just impact people's thoughts in a way that will affect the way that they live in this community, that they go to this school, that they talk to other people, that they talk about themselves. I think the ideas of like, you pretty for a dark-skinned girl. Like, I want us to be able to have the type of conversations where you recognize, like, you've been taught to think that, like, dark skin is like a butt. You know what I mean? She pretty, but she dark skinned. And that's wrong. And that's not a coincidence. You've been taught that. And we have to unlearn those things. Like, oh, why our community can't get it together? Black people so lazy. Black people so this, so that. It's like, yo, no, that's not true, it's not accurate, and it's not a coincidence. Like, it's not like all black people moved into one area of the city, and then because of it, it became poor. There was crime. That's not a coincidence, and it's not our doing. It's not our creation. And so I want to talk about things in a way that, frankly, we just are not taught to talk about, or we're not taught, period, in schools. Yeah.
So how did this all come about, this idea for the club?
Actually, Mr. Doyle, Mr. Doyle came and talked to me about it. I hope that in my interactions with people, especially with my students, like I had a student send me this thing over the summertime, and it was something on Instagram, and it was like Black excellence or something. She was like, hey, Miss Davis, I saw this and thought of you. I'm like, exactly. When you see stuff and you see anything about Black excellence, know that this is right up my alley. And so I think that in my interactions with people, hopefully that comes across. And so there's a clear reason why this is necessary here in this school. And I think Mr. Doyle recognizing that necessity, he just talked to me about it and just wanted my input on what I think would be important to see. And so an opportunity came for new clubs to be formed under a grant here, under the guidance of Ms. Myers, who's over the Young Scholars. And so she brought it to me because I had talked to her about it before, that Mr. Doyle talked to me about the Black Student Union. And so she said, so you want to do it? And I'm like, well, it was Mr. Doyle's idea. And she's like, well, both of y'all. So now we're both working together to form this year.
Where can students sign up at?
So on Wednesdays, we're in 349. We're going to start about 2:20, 2:30, just so people have time, if you need to run somewhere else or go to the bathroom or, whatever. We'll start about 2:20, but we'll be in 349 on Wednesdays.
So when does it start? Does it start this week or?
Yeah, so today is our interest meeting. We basically just want to set the tone for like what we have in mind, me, myself personally, and Mr. Doyle, about why I think it's important, but then also we want the students who show up to talk about why they think it's important. Like some kids are just gonna be like, oh, I saw snacks, but then other people, I've had people come like, I'm so glad we're doing this. And I want them to have a floor to talk about why they're glad, why they thought it was important as a student. And so we'll just have, a little moment for that. And have registration forms. If you don't come today, it's not a big deal. You can get a registration form later. We just want to have a clear membership of students who are involved. But at any time you want to join, you could join. You just got to sign the thing. But we'll be there every Wednesday starting today.
So how do you feel about the club? Like, do you feel like it's going to make a big impact, or do you just hope to change people's minds and then hopefully they spread the word? And
I hope that it has a big impact. Something I was thinking of earlier, right now we talk a lot about the Second Amendment and gun control. And my students and even the kids who just know me well from last year. One of my favorite artists is NBA Youngboy. I love his music, but I really love the potential in terms of conversations that we could have. One of the first songs I heard by him was the song Murder. It's gonna be a murder, you know how I'm coming. So, and then he like strapped like the Navy SEALs, promise you don't want it. And when I hear the song, I think that to some people, I understand why they like this thug. He talking about guns, killing people. But I'm like, yo, this should be the national anthem for the military. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we say. Don't play with America. You attack America. You attack our interests. We gonna come at you. You don't want it. But for Black people, we don't have that same attachment to God and country in the way that these patriots have. We have gang and block. You know what I mean? Like that's what we have ownership of. Most of us, and you know, even myself included, I don't feel that sense of ownership over the country in the way that I feel, you know, like my hood, my gang, you play with us, we coming, what's up? And so when we talk about Second Amendment rights, they're not talking about NBA Youngboy. You know what I'm saying? They're not saying he have the right to have a gun, which at the time he was a minor, so he doesn't. But, you know, they're not talking about Black people in the hood, they not. But you have the same rights as these people who are harping over the Second Amendment. And so why are we not a part of that conversation? Why is this image not a part of the conversation? The same people who are talking about Second Amendment rights are talking about Blue Lives Matter. And while Blue Lives do matter, I thought we had the right to carry guns. You know what I'm saying? And so these are the type of conversations we have to have because a lot of, like, NBA Youngboy in some circles has a negative image, right? You a thug, you for lawlessness, you violent, but he has the right to carry a gun under the Second Amendment, and ain't nobody gonna take our guns, right? So I wanna impact the way that we think because you're not a thug for carrying a gun. Even I do not condone violence. I don't want a gun, but I thought that's what the conversation was about. Your right to arm yourself and protect yourself, your family, your property. And that's what he's talking about in that song. And so I want us to shift. Black should not be synonymous with bad. Hood should not be synonymous with bad. Thug, for me, is not synonymous with bad because if I live in a system that is not set up for my benefit, that is not set up for my advancement, then F that system. That's how I feel, right? And I think that's all what Thug, Gates, all that's about. This is not set up for me, forget it. You know what I'm saying? And so I want us to be able to have those type of conversations in a thoughtful and a productive manner so that it affects the way that we live in this world.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
I probably flipped some wigs already. So, I mean, we are going to be in room 349 every Wednesday after school, about 2:20, 2:30. Everybody can come. I think that it'll be best if we have different perspectives. I want to create a safe space for people to be like, I do think that you a thug if you wear your sagging pants. And I want people to be like, but why? You know, I want us to be able to have those conversations. That's the only way it's going to be thoughtful and the way it's going to work. So hopefully this could be something that's big and something that's helpful to our school community, not just the students, but to parents, to teachers, that we all learn something from this. And I do want to add that Mr. Doyle made us aware that there was an African American Alliance Club here, and purposefully we went with the phrase Black Student Union because I know that some people come from other places and identify as descendants of Africans, but not Black. I think we have different understandings of what the word Black means. Or it's not as African Americans rather, right? I was born in Nigeria, not me, but like a person. So I'm not an African American, I'm just an African. And so we want, if you identify as a descendant of an African person, even if it was 1,000 years ago, this is about you. So that's why we went with Black students. But yeah, 3:49 on Wednesdays.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Davis. I'm Deshaun Edwards. Come at the school 3:49 to join the Black Student Union Club. Have a nice day. Back to our host.